Hey Jackie, welcome to Meet the Boss Junior. Today I'm speaking with you, Jacqueline Wainwright, CEO of Air Care Health. First question, you might know I love cars. What's your favorite car?
Oh, that's a tough question. I would have to say that aside from the first car I ever had, these days at our organization, we talk a lot about buses, not cars. And we talk about being on the bus and what it means to have an organization or a tribe of people or a group that you can get on the bus with, right? A metaphorical bus, and go on a journey, some type of adventure where you don't necessarily know what's going to happen along the way, but you get to enjoy the adventure with people that you like to spend time with. So I would say right now, at this point in my life, being on the bus with a group of people that I enjoy spending time with, most days not knowing where we're going to end up is my favorite vehicle of choice.
So think back to when you were a kid. What did you want to do when you grew up?
That's a tough one. For me, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I just knew that I wanted to do something meaningful. I wanted to have an impact, and I think that was hard for me uh, to not know exactly how I was going to make an impact, just have a feeling that I knew I was going to do it, because my parents, both of them, had a very good idea from a young age what they wanted to do when they grew up. They always knew they wanted to be doctors. And so when I would ask them, how do you know when you find the thing that you want to do when you grow up, or how do you make that choice? They didn't have a lot of good advice because they didn't themselves have that same pain point. But I I always wanted to do something meaningful, but I have to tell you, if I'm honest, I never knew what that was going to look like. So I was along for the ride.
I want to hear all about your work, but first tell me your story. How did you become a CEO?
Well, that's a good question. I actually grew up at this organization in a lot of ways. I started here in the call center, taking calls from families and individuals and listening to their stories and trying to provide hope and help in a time of great need and desperation. And I fell in love with that mission, the company's mission. And so I went away and back and did some of my own work, opened a business and ran it for a while. But I was compelled to come back to this organization, I think mostly because of the mission. And I didn't set out to be a CEO. I set out to make a difference and impact the world in a way that would leave it a better place. And I think I just kept doing the next thing. And until one day, the next thing led to the next thing. And I had the opportunity to step into the CEO role here at this organization, and I can't imagine doing anything else. So my story is a little bit different in that I had the worst job here at this organization, or the lowest man on the totem pole, and now I get to run it. So it's a pretty cool way to become a CEO.
So now tell me about your company. What is your product and who are your customers?
Well, at Air Care Health, we are on a mission to transform healthcare and ensure that individuals and communities and companies alike have the ability to put emotional health first. So to put the needs of their employees, of their people and their families and communities above all other healthcare needs, really, and to recognize that each individual has things that they struggle with, and that on any given day, somebody to help them along that journey and to listen and to provide resources is really value that can make a huge difference long term. So we provide emotional and mental health support to families and individuals, but our customers are large employers whom trust us to do that for their employees.
So what do you love most about your job?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. I love that every day I am learning something new. Nothing is ever the same. There are always new challenges, new problems to solve. But at the end of the day, I get to go to bed knowing that I am leaving the world a better place. And there's nothing like knowing that you're doing the right thing and that you're making a difference in the world that is really needed. So for me, nothing beats that. And whether I get to do that as a CEO or as an entry level position, I think that it's, to me, about the ability to change the world more than anything else.
So what's the hardest thing about your job?
Oh gosh, the hardest thing about my job, sometimes you have to make tough decisions. People and emotions, and I think sometimes doing the right thing for people that you care about, even when they can't see that it's the right thing, is the hardest part of the job. The work is easy in the sense that I love it and I know it makes a difference. It's the people that sometimes are hard, in the sense that people need different things and it's not one answer. And so I think that's the hardest part of my job, is knowing what people need on any given day in order to help them be better versions of themselves and better leaders.
So what's one piece of advice for me as I think about starting my own company?
My one piece of advice is that solve a problem and build a product around that. So, do what you love and solve a problem for the world. Fill a gap that doesn't exist today, but do it for you. If you do it for you, then your passion and your love for the thing that you do comes through, and it will sell itself, basically. So if you do something that you're passionate about and that you love and that actually solves a real world problem, then I don't think there's any chance that you won't be successful.
Looks like that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for coming on this show and sharing your story. Best of luck with your future.